but they're the folks who are designing a lot of this work, doing a lot of the outreach, reading those 600 applications. I've only read about 200 of them, so. But we've got a great team, and in large part, that's about getting the reach to reach out to innovators and the ability to kind of connect folks when we start getting some results back.
And a unique feature, if you want to go back to that partnership slide real quick, a unique feature of this is we are intentionally trying to work P through 20. We're really intentionally trying to work across the spectrum to make sure that this initiative is getting students to and through post-secondary and figuring out how we can do that. In fact, we might want to get some of your ideas about how we can actually stimulate more of that to and through kind of activity in future waves. But this partnership structure, we're really excited. EDUCAUSE has just been wonderful in pulling together the folks like the League for Innovation, INACOL, and CCSSO, and helping them come together and have these dialogues about how this initiative can be used to stimulate the good work that's going to need to be done over the next 3 to 5 years if we're going to try to get to and through to be more of a reality.
Yeah, and the first challenge wave was focused on post-secondary. The second one was focused primarily on K-12. That's probably the last time you'll see us replicate the silos. You know, our future waves, I think, will be much more P20. More information is available at our website, nextgenlearning.org. This is also where we're going to be posting information. Right now, you can get sort of the background research that we did in those 4 challenge areas, information on the challenges. We've done a series of webinars with folks who are leaders in this space.
And a really nice learning community that's emerging. One of the nicest things about this work is it's pulling together uncommon players. It's pulling together for-profit government and academics really to begin to think in a tough-minded way about what these outcomes look like. And so the nice thing for us is being able to see these learning communities arise around these key issues. And I think, again, EDUCAUSE has done a good job of trying to think about how you pull those uncommon players together into the conversation, right?
That's right. So we really want to get to the questions we have for you all about how we should shape this initiative, but we don't want to jump too quickly. So clarifying questions about the work that we're doing. We'll take a couple for a few minutes, and then we'll turn to getting your good ideas.
If you'll just come over and take the mic, give your name.
Or you can speak from where you are. We can probably hear you and restate the question. Yeah, we're glad. Questions,
If it
thoughts?
makes total sense, that's fine too.
Does that mean that you said you read a certain amount of proposals and you're going to be awarding in March. What happens after that? Is there another chance for another proposal input and then another wave every 6 months? Is that, I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I did speed right through that.
Yeah.
First wave, we committed up to $20 million. And it works that we have a pre-proposal period. So that we've received those last month. We're processing those now. We'll invite finalists. We'll announce those in March. That'll be for that initial resource amount. Not all of that $20 million will get awarded initially. Some of it will be held in reserve to double down on the more successful projects. Second wave and a second amount of money will be announced later this month, focusing on a new set of projects. People can reapply. Now they're going to be different. You know, they won't necessarily be the same for initiatives. And one of the things that we're trying to figure out is what's the right aperture? How broad should it be? Tell us everything cool in blended learning. Is that going to get the best ideas, or should we have much more narrow things that are much more specific things? Show us summer bridge programs that help academically underprepared students get ready, to avoid remediation by September 1st, and you can't, start serving them until June 1st, and it's got to cost $99 or less. We could go that route, right? And so when we start asking you guys feedback, that's one area to be really helpful is, how narrow or broad to make it.
So we can get on the Gates website and then find out this information at the end of this month?
Yeah, and nextgenlearning.org will be the best place. So you can go to our website, and it'll link you there.
To there.
So we can cut out the middleman.
Gigi Johnson from the Merrill Institute. Maybe I'm missing a point, or maybe I'm hearing something different. It sounds like you're asking people to use a lot of their own intellectual capital to be creating things that you're going to be choosing from. Are you creating a database of all these fabulous resources for everyone then to be sharing that may not be getting the rewards from the program.
Yeah, that's actually the big part of the learning communities, is to develop communities of practice. And one of the things we've heard, and Josh can talk about this because he's sweated through hundreds of these proposals, is how much you learn just from reading these proposals. I was talking to one of our program officers.
What do the rest of us learn, though, from all that fabulous
Well, exactly, and so
archive?
we have, part of the learning community work EDUCAUSE is going to do is figuring out how to build that out in a topology to put that out, so people can see what that work looks like.
And all applications were made with that, that we can publish it, whatever. So I think probably in March, we'll probably, a paragraph, 600 paragraphs, you want to read them all. And we're going to try and figure out how to do the synthesis, the statistical analysis, say, here are big trends that we saw, here are gaps that we saw, and to do that relatively quickly so you don't have to wait a year or 2 years to find out what we learned.
Exactly. I got to tell you, one of the things that's most exciting about this work is the fact that we're not running out trying to invent something because of some great idea we had. We're actually trying to stimulate the market around a purpose, a real key issue, and finding out who's really interested in this and has already been doing some good work. And that's what's fascinating about reading the proposals. How many people have been innovating against this stuff and have some really interesting things to do and to share with us? Because very often higher education, again, islands of innovation, thousands of institutions all doing different things. It's hard to get your arms around it. For us, this is a great pull strategy for us to pull together all these kinds of ideas.
Right. And our job is to figure out what interesting things are going on around the country and the world. And we're finding out incredibly new things people we've never heard of.
Right.
And so this is also a way to interact with the foundation. There's a handful of us. We can't take every phone call. We can't answer every email. And so this is a great way to interact as well.
I'm Mike Lawrence with Computer Using Educators, and thank you for the approach you've taken on this. I respect both aspects of it, that you're not coming with the answer already and that you're also encouraging innovation within the market. One question I've got is the data that you're looking to see produced in such a short time frame poses a problem for those of us that focus on teacher preparation and professional development. I've got what I would like to think is a fairly good idea that I'm hoping to put forth through a collaborative group of people that are going to apply in Wave 2. But our focus is on let's train the teachers and let's train folks to be better instructors. I won't be able to show you data in 6 to 12 months on student achievement necessarily. And if there is a way that I'm missing, then I'm happy to entertain it. But how would you address that?
Yeah, so I think one of the big challenges that we're still learning, and again, we're trying to rapid prototype this too with these multiple waves to learn what's right, is where in the S-curve of adoption should we point this effort? How early in terms of development, which is I've got an idea, I don't have the data, it's going to take a couple years, or kind of earlier things, this is already tried and true and we're really just ready to scale it. I think in this particular case, what we'd be looking for is some evidence of when you've used that technique before, it's resulted in these kind of student outcomes. And the objective is to then expand that program, and we're going to continue to track it and expect to get the same kind of student outcomes. So we're both trying to drive the student impact and the adoption curve. And so some applications will really speak to one or the other. We've got pretty good student impact. We really want to use these resources to deepen that impact. Others will speak to, we've got pretty good outcomes and we're trying to broaden it. If you don't have either, then it may very well be too early. But we're going to figure out and let us know that feedback too.
All right, thank you.
Patrick Haney from the University of Southern California. I know it's important to attack the high schools and get them into college, but it's also really important to attack the earlier grades to make sure that they're engaged and that they want to be lifelong learners. So are you attacking that? And also, are you primarily focusing on STEMs initiatives, or is it across the board on all parts of learning?
Well, I think that we've had a long-standing commitment to the foundation to we initially started working in high schools, in part because we saw the evidence that early grades, early learning, all that, but there really weren't a lot of people working in high schools. He really said it's too late, and there are a lot of students who are in these urban schools who when you hit 9th grade, you just got to write them off. And so Bill and Melinda 12 years ago said, I hope that's not the answer, right? And so we've been spending a lot of money trying to disprove the hypothesis that 9th grade is too late. So there is a lot of good work that's being done in earlier grades. I think we're going to continue to focus on some of the older age students. That being said, we really spent more time in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade because a lot of that early math, right, when your first introduction to algebra is critical determinant to whether or not you complete high school. And many of those first introductions are in 7th, 8th, 9th grade. And I think that we have a bias towards STEM fields, and so we may put out a STEM challenge. But right now, the first challenge is really focused on the high enrollment, low success courses at the college level.
The first open
Many of those
courseware
are
initiative
math.
is heavily focused on developmental education and gateway